Good morning. My name is Richard Wexler, and this is Caring in America, the podcast for caregivers and care recipients. So good morning, folks. Where are we today? It's November 7th, 2024. I want to have a conversation about that little tiny word, cost. Cost of care that we've talked about a lot. Where are we? 2 days after an election, and where are we in reality? Care is expensive. We talk about that all the time. It's not going to get any cheaper. As in-home care companies, as community care companies have the cost of doing business, all the expenses they have, paying their caregivers, etc., we're just going to see the cost going up. So whether you want to bring someone in to take care of an older loved one in their home, whether that older loved one is going to move based on need to an assisted living, memory care, etc., it's just going to get more expensive. Obviously, and some of you may know this, if the vice president had won, she obviously did not. She was talking about utilizing Medicare to help pay for the cost of care. So what does that mean? Not sure. Would it have paid for the total cost of someone to come in the home? Would it have paid for the total cost of mom or dad, grandparents in an assisted living, memory care? Again, not sure. Let's assume it paid for half of it. Obviously, for most people in this country, that would be extremely beneficial. When we're talking average cost nationwide of about $5,000 a month, in a community, defraying half of that cost would have been extremely helpful. The way the election went, I'm not about to get into politics, but the way the election went, that's not going to be happening. We're not going to see anywhere in the near future Medicare being used to help pay for the cost of care. So what does that mean? It means we're right where we were on November 4th of this year. It comes out of our pocket, a family's pocket, comes from a long-term care insurance policy. There's other ways you can finance care. But basically, you're having to, as you always have, pay for the cost of care. And as I said a few minutes ago, it's going to keep going up. When we were taking care of our 4 parents that ended in 2019, it was a tiny bit cheaper. It's more expensive. It's 2024. So what do we do? I keep harping on something that I talk about all the time. We need to make sure that as people start earning money in this country, whether they're 25, 30, 35 years of age, they're working in a job, they're consistently making money, they have parents, they have grandparents. There's a realistic chance that those parents, those grandparents, and someday those 30 and 35-year-olds are going to need care. And if it's on us to pay for it, so what happens? Their parents are 70, 75 years of age, something happens, they need care in the home, in a community. Have they saved through their lifetime enough money when we're talking about $5,000 on average in a community, more in a memory care, pushing $40 an hour for home care to come in the home. How many hours a day does that person need care? Or do they have to go to their family and say, folks, we're going to need help. We have to compile money to be able to make these payments every single month. So what I keep harping on, I truly don't understand the financial industry in this country. I have talked to so many of those folks over the years that truly do not understand, A, the different locations of where care can be given, B, what it costs. And then because of that, they're not having a comprehensive conversation with clients from 25, 30, 35 on up about this little tiny word care being a huge issue. They keep talking about retirement. Yeah, we all want to retire. We want to have these wonderful years in our golden years. But we talk about this. Most of us at some point are going to need care. Where's the money going to come from? Our financial industry needs to understand there's no such things as a nursing home. They're called skilled nursing or rehabilitation centers. What do they do? Who goes there? And what do they cost? What do they cost? How is that going to work? How long potentially is Medicare going to cover a 70, 75-year-old's bill in a skilled nursing facility? What is an assisted living? What do they do? Who should really be living there? What do they cost? And yet this differs throughout the country. That's why I'm saying on average about $5,000 a month. What is a memory care facility? Who needs to go there? Again, cost differs around the country. But most locations, you're probably talking $8,000, $9,000 a month, $10,000 a month. In some locations, New York, California, Texas, so on and so forth, big cities, you can be talking $12,000, $15,000 a month or more. So this financial industry really has to understand this issue and start talking to folks in this country once they start making money. What other choice do we have? So we're going to have almost 80 million boomers moving north, the oldest turning 80 in 2026. That's what, a little over a year away. How are we going to pay for all this care? Where are those folks going to live? We going to put them all on the street? Hey, mom, dad, grandparents, love you guys. Have a great rest of your life. Here's a blanket. It's kind of cold at night. I mean, what are we going to do? And if Medicare is not going to be helping us for probably quite a while, if ever, down the line, pay for this long-term care, meaning we need care for a long term, what do? We can't close our eyes and pretend that it just doesn't happen. You don't want to not talk about it like my wife and I did. All of a sudden, again, we were special. 4 parents. Most aren't going to have that. But I've talked about this numerous times that one parent and taking care of that parent is tough enough. So one parent, let's say it's $5,000 a month. Does the family have that? $5,000 a month. Month after month. And that parent's in an assisted living 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You guys can do the math. Maybe they had a home. Maybe you were able to sell that home to pay for those costs. What if they don't have a home? Where's the money going to come from? Was there equity in the home? How is this all going to work? That's why I go back to that four-letter word you guys hate, plan. We have to plan for these costs. They're real. It's, well, maybe it'll... No, not maybe it'll happen. There's a very good chance. We're living a lot longer through great things in medication and medicine in general. See, many people live to over 90. Quite a few live to over 100. We've talked about this. So you want to retire at 65 or 70, great. Well, you got another 25, 30 plus years of income there to be able just to live. And where's the money going to come from if you need care? Then we, Medicaid, awesome. But the only place currently, and I don't see this changing for quite a while down the line, the only place, let me rephrase that, in most states, the only place where you're going to be able to get that care is in a skilled nursing facility. You're going to have short-term people there recovering from a stroke, a broken hip. They're going to be there for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it may be, and move on. You're going to have long-term people there that need care on a continuous basis. I don't know how many of you have ever stepped foot in a skilled nursing facility. I've not only stepped foot in one, I've been a patient in one. They look like a hospital, they smell like a hospital, they act like a hospital. It's not someplace most people want to be living for years. Think about that. You want to live someplace where you really want to live. Most people at home. Can you afford $40 an hour that's going to get even more expensive as the next few years move on? Do you need 2 hours, 3 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, 24 hours a day? Again, do the math. Times in most areas around $40. In California, Texas, Dallas, New York, Chicago, more than that. Pushing 45 in some locations an hour. I keep harping on this. And I've talked about we're launching a new nonprofit after the first of the year. Hopefully closer to the first of the year than the middle of the year. A plan to age. Our goal with that is really teaching people how to plan. What do you need to do? Who do you need to be talking to? We're also going to have that set up so if you already are in crisis, who do you reach out to? Who can help you? Who can you talk to? So a lot of resources to help people, to make this process easier, especially if you haven't talked about it or thought about it, and now a loved one is dealing with a crisis which is affecting the family. But again, that four-letter word, plan. It's going to be so much easier for most of us if we're dealing with this per a plan than we are in crisis. And a good portion of that plan is, holy bejeebers, how are we going to pay for care if mom or dad or grandma or mother-in-law needs care? And we talk about this, and pick a city, we live in Boulder, Colorado, and mom and dad are still in the house that we grew up in Tucson. That's not close. You can't drive over there. If they need care and they're adamant about staying at home, how are you going to pay for it? Can they really go to the bathroom, get dressed, cook a meal, eat the meal, so on and so forth, activities of daily living. They don't want to move to an assisted living. They're adamant, as so many people are, and I understand that. You want to stay in your home. But is that reality? Here we are again, November 7th, 2024. We need to think about reality. We need to think about if Medicare helping us with care would have been the Calvary coming. The Calvary's not coming. We got to pay for this. We need to figure it out so we can retire and enjoy life. We've worked for 20, 30, 40 years or more. We want to enjoy life. We want to travel. We want to do those types of things. We want to see grandkids if we have them. Then something happens, a fall, an illness, both. Things change. I don't like to constantly harp about this, but I feel like I have to. We as a nation need to understand we've never been in the position we're in with almost 80 million folks, the baby boomers, who the youngest are 60 this year. The oldest will be 80 in less than a year. Folks, think about it. Talk to your loved ones, talk to your family, reach out to a financial advisor. If they really don't understand this, reach out to more until you find someone that does and can help you plan. Comment, question, want to be a guest on the podcast, reach out to me, eldered2023@gmail.com. Till we talk again, have yourself an awesome day.